Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kukui and Friends with your host, Amy Confesano.
Hey guys, Kukui and Friends is back, and it looks as though the season is actually going to start this week. Today, we're going to chat about the upcoming season, the trade that sent Raiders Twitter into a frenzy. John's going to lose a bunch of money this season, so we're going to look at his weekly bets, and Mies also has a new project that he's really excited to share with you all. Well, welcome back, John. How excited are you that football is starting this week?
Finally starting. I still can't believe it. The whole entire summer. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And it's finally coming here this week.
Yeah, I tweeted out, are we really playing football on Sunday? Because it doesn't feel like it because we haven't seen any – there's no games. There's no preseason. There's like 3 clips that float around of plays on Twitter, but that's about it. We haven't really seen anything, so it doesn't feel real still.
Yeah, usually you have training camp that you get to go see, and you see everybody posting their pictures and videos at training camp.
Right.
You got the preseason games that we didn't get this season, and you got very little coverage on social media about a lot of stuff that's going on. Who knows what's actually going on?
Oh, yeah, Lynn Bowden to the Dolphins?
Yeah, because
and
that's basically 2 third-rounders that aren't going to be on the team because that Muse guy, from all accounts, sucks. So it's a rough year this year,
I think it's going to be even tougher this year for the rookies. They had the training camp, but you can't simulate a real game.
Yeah.
So they're going into week 1 with absolutely no professional football experience.
Yeah. And even, you can't replicate it in practice, like actually playing. So it's going to be rough for them. And it seems like we're probably going to see a lot more people get picked up that, throughout the season that have played 4 or 5 years and maybe never got, their second contract or whatever, because teams are just going to want that experience of knowing what to do inside the actual football game. And, the undrafted free agents or the undrafted rookies are pretty much out of luck, I think.
Yeah, they got to add more players to the practice squad this year, which might help hold them, until the next year when they could get a little more experience.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe with COVID, you have some situation where a few players get quarantined and those players get to come in and fill in a role for a short time. But other than that, I don't see them getting much playing time.
Yeah. And it seems like I bet teams will carry just like another quarterback that I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they were saying, it'd be smart if they just hired a quarterback and then let him sit at home and never come into the office so that he never gets exposed to the COVID from the team. So
I think I just read about that. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but some quarterback was getting paid like $12,000 a week to stay at home.
Let me find it. I totally know what you were talking about. I saw it yesterday, and I was like, oh.
It's like before, like in the 90s, they were giving comedians holding deals. So basically, they would pay them a couple $1 million for a few years. And if they came up with an idea for a show, cool. If they didn't, also cool. Because all they wanted was, the next Seinfeld, the next Tim the Toolman Taylor. So, and I wouldn't mind being, if you're Jay Cutler and some team's like, hey, we'll give you, $3 million. You don't have to come in. You can live at home. You don't have to do anything. But if our quarterback gets COVID, you're coming in, right? So.
Yeah, here it is. It says Josh McCown's new contract with the Eagles will allow him to live at home in Texas and watch his team play from his couch. He'll be paid $12,000 a week and will serve as Philly's emergency QB. Best contract in sports.
That's fucking beautiful.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't know. I saw that and I kind of chuckled, but then it kind of made sense because he's not getting infected. He's just sitting at home quarantining.
So I wonder because that's below the rookie contract, and that's below the minimum, the vet minimum. So it must be like a practice squad contract.
Sounds like it's a reserved couch contract.
Yeah,
How do I get
No.
this couch contract?
I
It's I'm
take-
on my couch
take
all
that.
the time.
that's a lot. That's a lot better than unemployment.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously.
It's actually $192,000 if it's for all 16 weeks.
Yeah. So
That is excellent.
I'll take that.
I would do it for a quarter of the price, about 47,000.
Yeah, I'll do it for like 15. I'll do it for one $12,000 check.
I feel like you're setting your bar really low, babe.
Well, I mean, I have like this tennis elbow, so I can't throw probably more than like 25 yards, and that's total in the air. So that's probably like maybe a 3-yard out. You know what I mean? So they're not exactly getting a polished
That's
quarterback out
perfect
of
for
me.
Gruden's. That's perfect for Gruden's West Coast offense that he runs. That
Yeah, I
everybody loves to talk about.
I could be Derek Carr. You know what I mean? Well, that's the thing. So, like with Bowden, they were like he wasn't picking up like the offense. He was terrible at pass blocking. But it's like, then why even draft him? Like we know that it was going to be a weird year. Why you spend a third rounder? You know, a third rounder, you should get a guy that's going to produce in the first year or two and probably be a starter by year 3 or 4. That's kind of what you're going for. The projects, you want to take those in the 5th round, 6th round, 7th round. And
Right.
So.
And then with college football up in the air right now, that draft pick that they got in return for Bowden, who knows? Like, you're going to have very little to go off of to draft a player, especially in the 4th round.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at tape from 2019. I've been hearing that they're probably going to do some sort of games, like 7-on-7 stuff, that you know, like these trainers are going to set up these games, probably amongst themselves, where, you know, their guys go up against the other team. But, you know, how's that going to translate to actual football is, you know, we're never going to know. Like, there's no pressure going on those games. So,
yeah, that's pretty similar to what like a practice squad player would be dealing with now.
Right.
You're not going to get the full benefit. There could be some players that don't break out in a practice type of environment. So who knows? It could be setting up for a bad 2021, banking
Draft,
on draft picks.
And also, I mean, I think it's time to start looking at this front office. You know, I think, is this their 2nd draft together?
Yeah,
Gruden's
draft together.
Gruden's had 3, and then Mayock's had 2. I mean, you know, it looks like Cleveland Farrell's improved, and I'm excited to see what he's going to look like this year. But at the same time, he should have never been drafted that high, right? I mean, you know, I think I'm on record at having said this already, so it's not like a all new take, but you know, it's about value. The draft is about value. It's not about, you know, is this guy going to end up being good? Because, you know, the value is that we could have had another pick, even if there was if there's no one else to trade with, then take the fucking guy that's, you know, one of the 2 ends that are there, the best available player. You know, at number 4, you don't have to really draft for need. You have to draft for what's the best guy that we're going to get, and that's going to, you know, that's going to make your team better. So, I'm not excited about our drafts.
Possibly he could be a slow developing player. I tell you what, Max Crosby saved that draft last year though, because without Max Crosby, you had 0 pass rush, and the whole entire draft just collapses at that point. But hopefully, you know, he's just off to a slow start and he's picking up the system better. You know, I'm going to give a rookie the benefit of the doubt and give them a 2nd year before I jump on them. But top 5 pick, you definitely have to be a impact player right away.
Yep, exactly. And again, we reached again with Arnett, although it looks like he's going to be pretty good. And it wasn't as big of a reach as Farrell, just because when you're drafting late in the first round, I think that was 19 that we took him. You're already you're in the zone of crapshoot. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but hopefully he
Yeah.
does. Hopefully he does well. Hopefully, what's the Edwards, the other third rounder? Hopefully that guy
Pans out.
is pretty good. Make him a solid wide receiver 2 or something. So
And then Henry Ruggs has to produce right away, especially now that Tyrell Williams is on the IR.
yeah, well that's the car stand excuse this year, right? So we lost Tyrell Williams. It's like, all right, the guy's a borderline 2, maybe 3 wide receiver. He's not.
Yeah.
He's never the one.
I know. I was going to say, how impactful has he been?
Yeah, even I mean, like he's obviously got a certain kind of talent, but I sort of see him as like he sort of reminds me of like Jerry Porter, where it's like, yeah, he has flashes, but then he disappears for a long time. So
Yeah. I definitely put him in as a solid number 2.
yeah,
Like to be a solid number 1, you have to be like a superstar.
yeah,
Kind of like
exactly.
that Antonio Brown guy used to be.
Yeah, man, that guy's good.
He really was. I mean, he was a diva, but I think some of the best receivers are, and you have to have some of that swagger that Antonio Brown brought to the field, even though he took it a little too far off the field.
Yeah, it's just too bad, Especially, I mean, you get insulated. Like, can you imagine? Like, he probably couldn't even go out in Pittsburgh because he was always, he's too famous, right? So he can't like go out to like the movies and stuff like that. Where I think if he had been like in the Bay Area, people like we see celebrities kind of often, so it's not like the same. Where like I used to see like old Warriors like Danielle Marshall, and I've seen who do we trade to get Bogut?
Muggsy Bogues.
With all the tattoos. No, the guy. It was Curry, Monte Ellis.
Monte Ellis.
Yeah, so like I'd see them around, like, and it's just normal. And I remember I helped a draft pick when I was working at Best Buy for like 3 weeks.
I worked at Best Buy too, actually.
He bought $12,000 worth of shit, and
Damn.
I got paid. It took an hour and a half, so I was getting paid $15 an hour. This is like in 2006. So my total earnings for helping this guy buy $12,000 worth of stuff was $22.50. And I thought about it because I'm a sales guy, so I'm always like on commission. And I was like, even on the low end at 5%, like I still should have made over $500. And like I walked into the manager's office the next day, and I was like, hey, I can't work here. I'm gonna go get me a real commission job. Fuck this $15 an hour bullshit, which was actually probably pretty good back then, but I was used to making like 30 or 40 bucks an hour. When I worked
at Best Buy, I met Andre Rison when I worked at Best Buy.
Yeah, when he was a Raider.
Yeah.
Bad Moon Rising.
Buying CDs.
Yeah. What's it called? He had that famous. Was that him that did the push off? Like I called him the push off against the Ravens in the 01.
Was it? I just remember Andre Rison for his house getting burned down by his girlfriend.
Yeah, poor guy. I haven't heard his name in a while.
He's the one that made that decision to date the girl that burned his house down, though. So
yeah,
should have saw the warning signs coming.
I know, right? All right. So I think, John, you have a grand plan for the season. It sounds like you're going to be out a lot of money, but we support you in your decision. So what is this big plan that you've got going on for the season here with your bets?
Okay, so I kind of have this rule where I never bet on the Raiders to win or lose. because the few times that I have bet on the Raiders, they've gotten destroyed by like over 40 points. But I'm gonna do it anyways. But this week,
You're gonna jinx us, is what you're saying. All right, cool. I
Well,
support you.
so last year I bet on the Raiders season win total and to win the division, which didn't happen obviously.
Nope.
And but I did win the season win total. The bar was very low, and I did bet a few over unders. So I think for this season, for fun purposes, I guess, we will place $100 bet on the Raiders weekly. It doesn't have to be, to win or lose. It could be whatever prop bets I see fitting. And a bonus, the over under for the season. So $100 a week, we're looking at $1,600 plus the season win total. I'm looking to bet $1,700 this year on the Raiders, and we will see if I could come up a little bit or at least break even. If they make the playoffs or whatever, I'll continue the bets, and it could potentially be $2,000 that we place on the Raiders this season.
And we split that evenly, right?
Oh, definitely, because I'm putting up the money, but you guys are putting up with my explanation, so I think that's a fair.
That seems fair. Yeah, that's legit.
So what's-
So yeah, I was gonna say, what are we
what's
doing
the
this week?
first
All right, so the first bet we're gonna bet for the season win total. It's set at 7.5 wins, which is right around the borderline. I mean, you want them to win 8 or 9 games minimum. A $100 wager will net you a $105 profit if you take the over. So I am going to put my $100 on the Raiders over 7.5 wins, meaning that they will win 8 games or more to win $100. Now, for my week 1 bet, we have the Raiders minus 3 points in Carolina, which you got the crowd noise not being a factor anymore.
Right.
Well, they are going to pump in crowd noise, though. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the NFL will be providing, and the way that it was worded was really strange, because the NFL is going to be providing crowd noise at every stadium, and it's going to be team-specific crowd noise. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
definitely not the same.
Yeah. Unless they crank it up to like an Aerosmith concert volume, then it's not going to affect.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to. I'm sure they're going to have like a decibel cap, which is probably well under what a stadium could get, especially at when it comes to crunch time, when
third down,
the defense needs to make a stop.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I don't think that betting on the actual game line is a good bet, because we don't know how the road is going to affect them. The Raiders are actually favored to win by 3 points on the road, which means that if this was a normal environment and they're playing at home, they'd be favored to win by 6 points.
Right. So is Vegas not packing the 3 points this year?
I don't know. I haven't done enough research to do that.
Yeah.
But the over-under is set at 47.5 points, which going into week 1, the offenses could practice a lot more, and it actually takes a longer time for the defense to gel together.
Right.
So generally speaking, offense is going to have more points scored than a defense could prevent. We're looking at about 23, 24 points, like 24 points each, which in the NFL isn't a bad spot. So I'm taking over 47.5 points. A $100 wager will net me $90.91.
It was minus 110.
Yeah, minus 110. I was thinking about putting 110 on it to get $100 winning. Yeah. But first week, $10. You're like, I don't know if I want to spend the extra $10 this week. Might
But
save it for next week.
the thing is that I think you're spot on with your thinking, because what's crazy is I kind of think Derek Carr is going to be good this year because he's been in the system. He kind of knows, he knows the players. They've all been around together, and teams that have new quarterbacks or new systems are going to struggle, I think, because they're trying to figure it out still. Whereas hopefully Gruden and Carr have some sort of, understanding of what's good for them, of what works from the last 2 years. So hopefully that translates into, being able to come out of the block early. And like you said, the defenses aren't going to be as ready, in the first few weeks. So hopefully, we can turn the first few weeks and make that, a time for us to score a lot of points, hopefully.
That's what we're hoping for. Let's see if it happens. But, I don't want to look too far ahead of the schedule, but you have to win this game in Carolina because you have a brutal schedule.
Yeah. And the Saints are going to fucking put 100 points on us.
Probably. They're in a good situation where they have the veteran quarterback. He knows how to get his guys going.
You got Michael Thomas. You got Alvin Kamara, my running back.
That's his fave for fantasy football, just so
I
you
love
know.
that guy.
I mean, I haven't played fantasy football in 2 years, but I would imagine Kamara has been on the top. I'd say at least top 10, maybe even top 5 without even like taking a look at anything.
Yeah.
Because he's got Drew Brees.
Yeah. And the way they run that offense is just, just throw it to anybody that's open, and Kamara's open a lot. So he's done well for me. Amy thought I was crazy a couple years ago when I took him first over. Who did I take him first over?
I think that was
Gurley.
right around when Gurley was he was the going first overall.
And I think that was the last year that Gurley had a good season. So it wasn't like a total, a win on my part, but like they were definitely like neck and neck at the top of the fantasy points in my league. So it was a good time. I also need a draft. I haven't picked up a kicker or defense yet. So hopefully I can trade some of my players that I have on the bench.
I used to just play the kickers and defense weekly.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're in a PPR league where the defense doesn't score very many points.
Yeah.
The last year that I played fantasy football and I was in a PPR league, I believe my first 5 draft picks were all wide receivers.
Yeah. That's basically my general plan is all receivers and running backs for the first 5 draft picks. This year was a little weirder because I ended up getting Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I took them. I was the first pick in my league. So I drafted them, I think, either 3rd or 4th. End of the 3rd, start of the 4th round. Or maybe 5th, 6th. I think it was 3rd, 4th. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to take them both. And now neither one of them is going to put up 50 points against me. So I'm pretty happy about that.
In my league, Mahomes went 6th overall.
That's
I was like,
crazy.
What? Yeah, it was kind of weird, but I don't know. Did you guys get the article that I sent to you about the crowd noise?
The crowd noise.
Not more than 75 decibels. And then the NFL Films sound engineers are going to provide club-specific audio palettes for each club. And it's going to be reactive to game situations, allegedly. So,
you think for Raider games they'll have "fuck AB" chants?
Yeah. Yes, they will. It's got to be authentic, right?
Yeah.
But
so,
yeah.
Jesse, 75 decibels is nothing. That's almost.
I think our air conditioners are louder than that.
No, so 75 decibels is probably like the crowd during like a commercial or halftime or something.
with Too Short's not on.
Right.
Yeah, Yeah, no, because I worked in car audio, and we would put together sound systems that hit 100, 130 decibels, which is like ridiculous. But at the games, I believe didn't the decibels get to like 105, 103, or am I
Yeah.
tripping?
Yeah, and I
Oh, I'm
think
sure. Yeah.
and I think somewhere around there, and I think that even like remember when Seattle and KC were having their Who's the Loudest fans? I think they
Yeah.
got to like 119 or maybe it was 129.
Oh.
But so I'm looking here, vacuum cleaner average radio are 75 decibels. So that's not that. It's not
Yeah.
that loud.
No, 75 decibels is
Yeah, so window air conditioner is 80 to 89.
Okay.
So, a
hmm.
noisy restaurant, powered lawnmower, Subway is 90 to 95.
wow.
Let's
Okay,
see.
so I just looked up
Sports
the
crowd 120 to
Seahawks.
129.
Yeah, so the Seahawks record is 137.6,
Yeah,
and the Chiefs recorded 142.2,
Wow.
which the loudest sound system I've ever designed was, I believe, like 143, which was like no, wait, no, not that loud. That's actually, I think that's the world record for the loudest sound system, car audio system. I got that mixed up. So the loudest I've done is probably like 125, 126, which is really loud.
I used to have a 97 Camaro T-tops, and with the T-tops they have that area in the trunk, and so we dropped in three, I think it was three W3 10-inch subs in the box, and that fucking thing was so loud because it would bounce off of the glass trunk lid, that, and it, my buddy had spent like $5,000 on his sound system. He had a 350 Turbo Z, those Nissans.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
my shit blew his out of the water, and all I had was just the amp and those 310s. And then I ended up upgrading the door speakers and stuff later, but just the amp and those 310s just fucking destroyed his, $5,000 system. He was pretty butthurt about that.
So crazy. I don't know how far you guys got in the article, but it looks like they're going to have stadiums use it. Stadiums that are allowing fans, they'll be using the canned crowd noise too.
Ask me if I opened the article.
You probably didn't, but
I
it's
did not open the article.
I'm sure John at least read the first sentence, but
I read the headline.
yeah.
I read the URL and I figured it out what it was about.
Yeah. Yeah, so they might just they might use it the entire season, even in stadiums that have fans. They're gonna evaluate it as the season progresses.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at least it won't sound. I think it's for the players so that it doesn't sound like nothing's happening, right? Because,
Mhm.
and I don't think, it's not going to affect their actual gameplay, but it's just like noise.
Well, it's interesting that they're contemplating replacing the sound of like actual fans in the stadiums that will allow fans to be there. Like they're still going to use the canned stuff at the beginning, it says.
Maybe it even works as a disadvantage, because I remember hearing some of one of the UFC fighters saying that he could hear the other cornerman telling his fighter what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, 75 decibels. They should allow it to, I'd say, at least 90, which is still not very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I wonder what the speakers are when we're listening to them, like at the Coliseum, like what decibel that was at.
Being that they're like shot and probably blown out.
Yeah.
And it's just like some really like high, it's like some high pitch audio. It's actually probably high just because of like the frequency.
Yeah. So it's probably like what,
But,
90 decibels maybe.
maybe, which is like the same decibels as a bass drum. It says. So
Yeah.
a subway train is 100 decibels.
Yeah.
It's having very little crowd noise might actually hurt the offense when they're trying to call some audibles.
Yeah.
If other teams could pick up on their plays.
They're gonna have to
Mhm.
change audibles all the time. They're gonna have to change it
Yeah.
weekly.
Or they might have to go to like some type of silent
Selling
count
counts.
or audible. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll ask Phil Rivers how to do that.
All right. And Mies, I feel like you have something very exciting you wanted to share with everyone today too.
Yeah, I am divorcing Amy and marrying the AT&T girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Nah,
That's going to be a costly decision.
and I'm working on this podcast with a couple people. Actually, the three of us each have been banned at least twice. And so it's going to be. I'm not talking on it, but it's going to be Mike, who's at, I think it's PBC God _ on Twitter, and Corey, who is Blackhand Side 00 on Twitter at the moment.
Yeah, for now.
He's gone through the most accounts out of all of us. I'm on 3. Mike is on like 4 or 5. Corey's on, I don't know, like 10, 11 maybe.
That's
Dude,
impressive.
Yeah. So what we're doing, we're going through kind of the history of black quarterbacks in the NFL. We started in like the 80s and 90s, just because none of us are really old enough to remember the older quarterbacks from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way to the 70s. But really, it's, because it's really about the change that the black quarterbacks have gone through, where the conversation in the 80s and 90s was, are black quarterbacks smart enough to be quarterbacks in the NFL, to where now we have the MVP and the Super Bowl champion are black quarterbacks. So, there's been a change over time on how black quarterbacks have been looked at. So it's mostly from fan perspective. We're not like going into like stats and all that other shit, but mostly talking about, we have an episode on Mike Vick that we recorded already. So that one's going to be good. We recorded 2 or 3 already, and we'll probably be dropping it Wednesday evening. And it'll be on this channel, just because, it's going to be like 6 episodes total, so we didn't want to just open up a whole new channel for it. So we'll drop it on here, so look out for that. And shit, so far so good. Sounding
All right,
pretty
so
good.
since I'm a little old, I need to know, are you going to be covering Randall Cunningham?
Absolutely. Randall Cunningham. So it's the first episode is, we kind of, we intro the show, and then we talk about Randall. We talk about Warren Moon, Andre
Yes, that was my
Ware.
number 2.
Yeah, Andre Ware, Rodney Peete, just kind of like that era. Because,
Oh, sweet.
because those quarterbacks, Warren Moon wasn't even, like, he couldn't play in the league for 8 years. He had to go to Canada and, basically won like 3 or 4 of the Grey Cups up there. And then finally the NFL was like, oh yeah, maybe this guy is good enough to play quarterback. So then that's when the Oilers gave him a shot. And then, we're progressing through time of, with Mike Vick, it was such a phenomenon. He was like the Allen Iverson of the NFL.
Cheat code.
Yeah, the cheat code on Madden. And they had the ride. That commercial was really cool. Like, so, it's going to be a fun podcast to finish.
I can't wait to listen to that. And will you guys also cover, I know it might be a little bit older, but Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win
that's
the Super
right.
Bowl?
Yeah, Doug Williams is in the first It's in the first episode also because it's all kind of that era, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in there. We even bring up Vince Evans because we're all Raider fans, and I called, I always saw Vince Evans as the Black Jay Schrader, just drop back and throw it 100 yards and let Willie Gault go find it. So yeah, so we cover all that stuff, so it'll be pretty fun. It's not really that Raider centric, you know, but it is, some perspective that, you know, black fans really love their black quarterbacks, and I think most of it comes with because of the stigma that black quarterbacks can't do it, and that's been proven wrong. All those hot takes from the 80s and 90s, you can just see it now. We've got MVPs, rookies of the year, all black quarterbacks. So it'll be a good listen.
Yeah,
That's really awesome. I can't wait to give that a listen.
Yep. It'll be on this channel probably Wednesday night. So thanks a lot.
cool.
Sweet. Yeah. And then you guys have anything else going on? I know it's been pretty crazy times.
Yeah.
And a lot
Well,
of
I think
crazy things going on.
since we last recorded, I think me and Amy got married.
Oh, yeah.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it's been that long. I think Amy said we recorded June 24th. We got married July 31st on Instagram. That was fun.
Yeah.
Live. I was
Yeah.
trying to watch while I was driving home from work.
Yeah.
Safety first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled over.
Yeah.
I pulled over to take a peek.
We did a Zoom on for the families, but I couldn't figure out how to turn off the waiting room. So once the ceremony started, once it ended, I went back and there was 5 or 6 people in the waiting room who must have just completely missed it. So
Waiting to get in.
but that's why I told everyone I opened the room at 6:30, and the wedding was at 7. So if you show up late, that's not my fault. So what can you do?
Yep. Yeah. Over the summer, I started looking for houses in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put an offer in on a house and it got accepted, but I'm kind of actually started negotiating with them again this morning.
Mhm.
But I think I'm gonna look for another house. Not really happy with the inspection report, but I
Yeah.
do want to get a house in Vegas. I want to have a Raider pre-tailgate party there, so I'm looking for
Mhm.
something with a good amount of land. And all the listeners are all invited. Maybe not all of them, but a good amount.
All
I mean,
seven. All 7 of
yeah.
you guys. All 7 of you guys come out.
7. Wow. When did we get up to 7?
Well, the
That's pretty
black
cool.
quarterback has boosted our
Oh.
podcast has boosted our audience.
I love it.
So
We went from 4 to 7.
I know.
Our numbers are percentage-wise, our numbers are
they're
skyrocketing.
booming.
Seriously.
I'm
They're
gonna
like
take
COVID numbers. We're on the rise, man.
I'm gonna take this to podcast 1 or something and try to sell it.
I'm just looking forward to hitting double digits. One day we're going to have 10 followers, and that's going to be a big moment for us.
It'll be amazing.
That means we get to quit our day jobs and become full-time podcasters at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll just convert our whole house into a studio and buy another one.
All right. Well, we're really excited to be back, and we're even more excited the football season is actually starting this week. So if you guys loved what you heard and can't get enough of us, then please subscribe, download, review us on your favorite podcast app. You can also visit us at kukuiandfriends.com to see all the different ways that you can hear us. On social media, we're at Kukui and Friends on both Twitter and Instagram. So follow us, give us your feedback or ideas. And then I have a new handle. I'm no longer A. Contesano. It is A.L. Minchell, and that's A.L., not Al. Thank you. And John is still Kukui Online on Twitter and Instagram, and Mies is Mies Erected on Twitter and Big Mies on Instagram. And we will see you guys next week.